Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
If you were forced to give up an item, let's just say OV scores his, what's the record for goals? 871. Say, I think it is, Wayne's. Say he scores 872 and against the opposition, and let's say Shesterkin, let's say it's in New York, and he fires the puck into the crowd, the goalie for the Rangers, and you catch it. And then the Capitals come over to you and tap on the glass. Can we get that puck? It's Ovi's. It's the record-breaking goal. A, you don't want to give it to him, but B, you know you should. What would be an appropriate...
But C, that's $1 million puck in your hand.
They say the football's $500,000.
Okay.
That's what they're saying.
So the puck would be... This didn't break a record. The puck would be right there.
No, what would you want?
$500,000.
You scumbag!
That'd be the coolest thing to have the record-breaking puck. But you know what?
Oh, it's $894. Sorry. So if it's $895, you catch the puck for $895. Because what Tom said was, we'll get him a helmet, maybe a couple jerseys or something. I'm not quite like you.
Yeah.
Not a complete pimp like you. I would say, I want the helmet, I want the jerseys, I want season tickets, I want lunch with you at the Golden Corral tomorrow, Tom. And let me think about it a little longer, and then I'll get back to you.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now.
I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back, old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports talk show coming your way on Game Plus Television, WQEE. Yeah, buddy. And YouTube, great to be here in this business. It's great to be anywhere. Right, Rhino Radio. And I'm just going to stuff in a couple of viewer comments as we get rolling. We are live on YouTube, as we say. Rhino Radio down there in Atlanta. Metro Atlanta says, Happy New Year. Welcome back, Rod and crew. It's great to be here. Thank you. Kevin, the medium's checked in. I'll get to y'all. Let's bring in the Moose, Darren Moose DuPont. And I could say, how was the holiday? Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Nobody cares how our holidays were. We're going to jump right to the sports talk other than to say, Moose, Happy New Year, my friend. And are you good? Are you good today? Are you feeling good as we set sail in a brand new year?
Oh, yeah. Rested and recharged and ready to go. There's lots to talk about. So I'm with you. We don't need to waste any time.
Nope. So let's go. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? And let's go. Oh, he's got that working. Our guest today, by the way, the voice of the Winnipeg Ice, the great Brian Biggie Munz, and Jamie Thomas, the radio color voice of the Winnipeg Jets. It's a very Winnipeg-heavy day today. We're very popular on Bell MTS Cable in Winnipeg on Game Plus TV. Jets and Flames getting after it tonight. So those are the guests. But it's just Moose and I for all of hour one. And here are the quick six show topics of importance to us. Maybe not of importance in the world, but to us. And by the way, start spreading the news. Tell your friends. We're live on all these platforms. YouTube, Game Plus TV, and WQEE Radio. We will get to all of the hockey, of course, because it is primarily a Canadian show, but the number one topic in sports is Buffalo Bills safety. Damar Hamlin remains in critical condition after collapsing on the field Monday night, and Buffalo's game against the Cincinnati Bengals was postponed. I can't imagine everybody or anybody hasn't heard of this story, but I'll just briefly say Hamlin was administered CPR on the field. He was surrounded by teammates after he was hurt while tackling Bengals receiver T. Higgins. Hamlin got to his feet, appeared to adjust his face mask, and then fell backwards About 3 seconds later and lay motionless. He was rushed by ambulance to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. I'm telling you, we will get to all of the World Junior stuff and the NHL leftovers and big news out of the CFL today with the Toronto Argonauts, but we have to talk about this. And as I said in our Instagram story, Darren, I'm sure you saw it, we're going to talk about it a little differently than everybody else is talking about it. It's been wall-to-wall, as you've pointed out, on ESPN, all their shows live today. Whatever live shows there are, that's what they're talking about. And I was upset this morning because one of the reporters, he's an NFL insider, says this will be our best reporting work to find out how he is today. Darren, beware the fake news today. And I will just say it right now, have some respect for his privacy. Because I saw somebody share on Facebook, this was supposedly a relative of DeMar, saying that his vital signs have all returned to normal and that he's stable. But as of 11:24 Eastern, I just read on the Associated Press that he's still in the hospital, still in critical condition, still sedated, and his family has asked for their privacy. So I want to respect that. Imagine if that was you. Would you want the whole world knowing your business if you were in the hospital in this instance? Or what if it was your son or your brother or your husband? In the situation of DeMar Hamlin. So we got many offshoots to discuss on this, but let's try to have a little respect for the situation. What's your take on it?
I'm with you on that. You want to respect the family and the privacy and the entire situation and handle it as delicately as possible, because we've never seen anything like this, it feels like. I mean, this stopped the internet. Like, I'm sitting here watching the end of Canada at the World Juniors and then flipping over to Monday Night Football, and you see this news, and then we listen to Joe Buck for what felt like a couple of hours almost, continue to tell the story as it unfolded. I mean, my sister phoned me and said, "Are you watching this? Have you seen what happened?" My mom was texting. This is something that whether you're a football fan, an NFL fan, a CFL fan or not, it kind of transcends sport, and you really want to be respectful. I think the rush for news, the only thing we want is to just, we can't wait to hear that he's okay. We just want to hear that he's fine. But if that's the case, that news will come out and it will travel fast, so there's no need to worry about prying and trying to be the first to report the story.
Well, and we got some great comments come in. Carlos in Indianapolis says the NFL Safety Committee is going to have quite an off season. Kevin the Medium writes it and says, thank you, Rod. He deserves his privacy. Randy in Winnipeg, nice rant to start, Rod. Agree 100%. Jack Fulton watching in Vulcan, Alberta. NFL Network reports that DeMar remains in medically induced coma and doctors are reporting to family every 30 minutes. Right. This is a delicate situation, obviously. I think Darren's right. Everybody just wants to hope for the best. But you'll find out when you'll find out. Maybe just pump the brakes. The other side of this, and we got a lot of time here in hour one to settle into all of our topics. I was watching the World Junior game. Narrowly had it ended, and Canada beating Slovakia 4-3 in overtime before I was alerted to this incident on Monday Night Football. I wasn't watching any of it. Didn't have Twitter open, nothing. And then I see this, and they were in the delay. And I was thinking, they're going to play. They always play. They always play. The score was 7-3, and they didn't know the severity. I don't necessarily know that they knew the severity of the injury to DeMar Hamlin. They always play. And we can get to Skip Bayless's comments from Fox Sports 1. They're rather tasteless comments, but this is our show, not his. Let me say it again. They always play. So when they announced that they weren't going to play, I was stunned. And it's not that I thought that they should play. I'm just so used to leagues and teams doing what's wrong. Go do that. Whatever you think's not right, go do it. I'm just used to that. They did the right thing by not playing, and we don't know yet when they're going to make it up. Shoot, it's past noon Eastern, Darren. Like if they were going to play it tonight, you'd think we'd know by now. So it just looks like the NFL just paused, had sober second thought, and said, this kid's more important than the game. That's what it looks like. Do you think that's how it went down? How do you think it went down?
Yeah, I do think that's how it went down. And there are some people online and on social media that are screaming that Well, they didn't make the decision fast enough. How do you not decide instantly that it should be canceled or postponed? But there's a lot that has to go into it, right? The league officials have to be notified. They'll talk to the game officials and get the scene that's happening on the field. They've got to talk to the Players Association. Then they got to talk to both teams. They have to think about the implications. And I know all that stuff doesn't matter right now, and all that matters is DeMar's health. But there's a process, and at the time, the number one process is to make sure that you handle this kid and the medical attention he needs right now. Forget about the game. Let's make sure he's okay. And so while they did that, they handled it, and I thought the NFL did a great job and did what they needed to do, and no questions about it.
That's just, again, a shock to me. 902-518-3033, the number to text us anywhere in North America you're watching on Game Plus TV, listening in the state of Georgia on WQEE. 902-518-3033. People are writing into our website where you can reach us there, rodpeterson.com, because this is the basis of my commentary today. And one guy said, I heard, his name was Paul, he goes, I heard that the NFL wanted to play the game and the team said, no, we're not playing. And I thought, well, I could believe that the NFL wanted to play, but I can't believe that the NFL would be overruled by the teams. That never happens. If there's one thing we've learned, nobody's bigger than the NFL. You would think. That's what we've become accustomed to knowing. But as of Monday night, apparently Damar Hamlin is bigger than the NFL. I know that that's a statement that'll probably be misconstrued, but the point is his health took precedent over that Monday night football game. And I'm shocked that it did. So thank you, Jack in Alberta. He says the Bills flew home last night, so no game tonight. And I'll get to more in his, yeah, okay, I got to stay out of there. I'll just lastly say this. You saw the faces of the Bills players, particularly the quarterback, Josh Allen. I'm trained to not only deal with people that are in shock, but also recognize when people are in shock. Josh Allen was in shock. We all know you see your teammate get hurt, no matter the sport, it rattles a bench. It rattles a team. This was one step past that. Josh Allen, just because we saw by the look in his eyes, I didn't see the other players. He's the guy that I recognized. He was in a state of shock. There's no way they could have come back and played that football game Monday night. So we await to see. We await to see where it goes from here. Okay, we're moving on, but we got lots of time. We'll weave back and forth to the good news, I guess, the exciting news from Monday night. Team Canada will have a day off Tuesday at the World Juniors to prepare for a Wednesday semifinal showdown with the USA. Canada got an overtime goal from Connor Bedard Monday night to win a tense 4-3 battle against Slovakia. The U.S. crushed Germany 11-1 in their quarterfinal. Sweden won 3-2 over Finland, and Czechia squashed Switzerland 9-1. What a wonderful night of hockey. Our friend Bobby Margarita, Bob McKenzie, sang on the TSN panel after the game. He goes, we can talk about Bedard, but this was a classic World Junior game. I had people calling me last night about other things. Florida friends. I'm like, leave me alone. Canada, Slovakia are playing a playoff game at the World Juniors. And it didn't disappoint. And Connor Bedard has delivered in spades. And actually, that's our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall, Universal Collision Center, with dealerships all across the Canadian prairies. Is Connor Bedard the greatest World Junior player ever? Statistically now, he is. Best Canadian player anyways. With points and goals, he set both records Monday night with 1 goal. He set 4 records. He finished the night with 5. I will never get sick of Connor Bedard talk. Will you?
No, never. And let's remember something. You know, he's not going to catch Peter Forsberg for points or Pavel Bure's 27 goals.
How do you
or whatever.
know?
You know, but he could, because he could play in 2 more World Juniors. For me, that's the thing to note about all this. Like, he's not even supposed to be playing in this tournament yet. He's not even supposed to be playing in it yet.
Ugh.
This is a tournament for 19-year-olds and some 18-year-olds. Not for 17-year-olds. Forget about it. 16-year-olds. You know, the last time, like, he's not even supposed to be here yet. He's in ahead of his time.
I know.
And he's dominating. You know, and just when you think you've seen it all, he steps up again. And it's not just points. It's He steps up when the moment matters the most. When you've got Team Canada, statistically, typically every year, the best team in the tournament, and you go 3-on-3 in overtime, and you put a 17-year-old out to lead that, and then he ends up scoring the OT winner, it's unbelievable.
It's a great story. Hey, I'm glad to have all our friends checking in here today, the regulars, the Rod Squad. Good to see you all. Hope you had a great Christmas break. I hope you missed us. John in Edmonton watching on Game Plus says, Rod, I heard last night it was the team's decision not to play. BW in Edmonton says the NFL got it right. The WWE would have kept going. From Roger in Calgary, Happy New Year, Rod Squad. All the best in 2023. Jason in Red Deer, mark my words, in a couple years, all the talk in the NHL will be about Bedard. McDavid will be moved to the back burner. Maybe. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, of course he's the best because he's supposed to be. All of the exceptional status kids have gone down this path, and thanks to technology and training, CB98 has the edge. I don't know if Nelson's saying that Connor took a shortcut or not, but I don't think you can shoot the puck the way Connor Bedard does and say that's because of technology. The hockey people will tell you there's only one player in the NHL right now that has a better shot than Connor Bedard, and it's Austin Matthews. He's got a better shot than 99.9% of NHLers. I don't think that's because of technology. That's just me, and I will move on to the NHL talk in a second, other than to say my phone blew up last night with fans of my friends, but fans of all teams. Wish the Flames could get him. Kevin the Medium texting me on my home phone saying, I wish the Canucks could tank to get. Everybody wants the kid. Of course they do. And for years, the last couple of years, I thought it would be Arizona that will get him. But I guess based on odds and the way things are going and lottery balls, it looks like Chicago. I don't know if I want to move off Arizona because I've thought for so long it would be Arizona's going to get Bedard, but it's just mathematically, as we learned in COVID, trust the science. The science tells us it'll be Chicago. Who do you think Bedard will go to?
I hope it's Arizona, actually. I think Arizona needs, this is what they need. You know, what a perfect storm this would be. You get a little buzz going in Mullet Arena, decent atmosphere, you kind of get that going. And if Bedard comes to town and you get that buzz, and forget about maybe Austin Matthews shows up, I don't know. But just as they start to move into a new facility, I think it would be a perfect storm to revitalize a team that's desperately in need of a star since the franchise moved down there.
That reminds me, Mullet Arena, the home of the Arizona Coyotes. Business in the front, party in the back. Mullet Arena, the Coyotes are here tonight in Sunrise, Florida. The Coyotes. I'm going to head down there to FLA Live Arena. I'll see my old Desert Dogs buds. And because from what I'm hearing, all the griping's gone now about the arena at ASU. And people, you saw the Leafs were just in there and they got spanked. And I can't remember which one of the Leafs said that it was a fun atmosphere. The barn was full. That's new when you go through Arizona. So I'll talk to the guys tonight. We're going to pause. We're only 1 or 2 points into the warm-up. We will return in a moment. It is Daytime Sports Talk on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, let's get it going. Let's get it up. I'm talking about the viewership, listenership, loving you. By the way, Rhino Radio came to mind in the break, and I was driving through Georgia over the holidays. Again, I'm not going to spend much time on what I did over the Christmas break, but I was driving through Georgia. Next time, Rhino Radio, do you want me to stop? Because I didn't. I was over on the east side of the state, but I can swing by and visit y'all there at WQEE if you're interested. Please let me know. The Moose is with us, and the viewership is on the rise, Moose. We got some great commentary here. I'm not sure exactly what we are. I do know what we are. We're the Golden Corral of sports talk. That's never changed. A little something for everybody. In a way, we're fast food. Like, it goes fast. I've watched some shows. It's good to take a week off. I didn't really want to. I don't feel like I needed a break. But for everybody else's sake, I was glad they did, because I know they work far harder than I do. Nobody's disputing that. But I watched a lot of other sports talk shows on television, listened to some, and I'm like, can you guys move on? It gets boring after a while. That ain't us. We move so fast on this show, right? You got to keep up. So on the World Juniors, Arlen Bruce III writes in and he says, USA tomorrow by 2. That is fighting words. Canada, USA in a World Junior semifinal. John Ohm writes and says, Happy New Year. Says he's late. That's okay. We're just glad to have you. There is breaking news today. The Toronto Argonauts have released Speedy B, and I have the goods as to why, but just hang on. We'll get to that. Habs for Life 41. That's the account watching on YouTube in Vancouver, where we're very big on Game Plus TV out there, channel 924 on TELUS. Habs for Life says 4,600 fans in Mullet Arena should never be max capacity for a top league in North America. You're right, but it is what it is. And there was a very funny comment here from BW. Here it is. He said, if Connor Bedard goes to Arizona, Bettman will retire. Mic drop. Wouldn't that be something? He's like, my job here is done.
Yeah.
But I know that you have a take on this. And my point on this being, God, who doesn't love a great steak? I would love this show to be the greatest steakhouse, a very expensive steakhouse, the Rod Pedersen Show. But that's not us. We're fast food and a buffet. So, and who doesn't love that? Fast and cheap. That's us. So Skip Bayless, you know, he had the tweet last night, and I don't have it word for word, but he basically said that the game, we feel, or I'll speak for me, not you. Skip Bayless, Fox Sports 1, legendary American sports commentator and writer. Whether you like him or not, you can't deny his legacy. Said regarding Damar Hamlin and his injury last night that the kid's health is important, but this game is more important. If you agree or disagree, if I paraphrase that correctly. And I thought he would probably get fired for that. Not only did he not get fired, he was on the air today, Darren. But did you see, because you went and flipped over to Fox Sports 1, you saw that he was on the air. Did you hear that Shannon Sharp, his co-host, didn't show up for work today? That's what I just read in the break.
That I didn't see. So you and I were getting ready for the show in our pre-show, and I flipped it over, and I kept it on mute. The graphic showed that he was talking about something else already. Looks like they went back and talked about it, but I never saw Shannon Sharp. You're right. I just saw Skip. And so very interesting to see that development. But it, again, sometimes when these things happen and the moment is so much bigger and, you know, the severity and the impact and everything, it's so much bigger than the game that there will be a time to talk about that game. Because the implications on the standings and the playoffs and everything are very important. I get that. But that doesn't matter today. We can deal with that later. So this isn't the time to have the conversation. Doesn't mean the conversation doesn't have to happen. Just doesn't have to happen today.
I was remiss in this. I should have called up. And if you'll give me a second, I will look it up. I should read verbatim. No, I got it here. Like, the dude's got 3.2 million followers on Twitter. And here it is. Here's the tweet. This had been viewed 129 million times, okay? He said, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, ... which suddenly seems so irrelevant. So in 140 characters, he said a lot. I think what he was saying is the kids' health is important, but so is this game, and they'll continue. I think he thought the game was going to continue. I did. I didn't put this in my commentary because I didn't want it there in black and white forever, but I vowed I would say it on the show today. It reminds me a little of the Humboldt Broncos incident, which I was intimately involved in. April 6th, 2018. We all remember it. You know, the people on that bus, the injured or lost their lives changed forever. I wrote on that very same website that the playoffs will continue and they need to continue. And I got lambasted for that. That was about 72 hours after the crash. But the playoffs did continue. Harsh as it was, I thought, how is this a whole lot different? And I don't know the ins and outs of what changed Monday night, why they decided not to play. I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't. I'm not disappointed in the SJHL for playing. What are you going to do? It's just, I guess times have changed, you know, and just back to the Skip Bayless thing here today. He went, maybe I should stop talking and hand it over to you because you are the co-host. He came out and kind of backtracked on what he said last night. Are you picking up what I'm putting down on this? Have you read it similarly to me, or am I completely out to lunch, which is entirely possible?
No, I think, you know, just the fact that he was questioning, you know, that they should play or just assuming and talking about the importance of the game as the first point, I think that's what people had an issue with. Like, forget about the game right now. Game doesn't matter. Game doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now what the score is, all that stuff. Now, to the Humboldt Broncos, you know, comparison, I think it's somewhat similar because, you know, you said the playoffs should continue, and, you know, this NFL season will continue. The games are going to happen this weekend. They're going to continue to play. They're going to award a Super Bowl champion. So that's all going to happen. It's just this game's not going to happen. And similarly there, that series wasn't going to happen. That game, it was done, right? So I think there's some parallels there that if anybody's thinking that the whole season should be paused, that's not going to happen. But, you know, that game and thinking about football for a few days here isn't really that important.
Well, we got a lot of cool stuff going down. Jason in Red Deer says it reminds me a lot of the Brad Horning incident as well, Rod. That game continued as well. For our viewers that don't know, he was a junior hockey player, very good friend of mine with the Regina Pats, who came out of a hit in the Regina Agrodome in 1988 as a quadriplegic. And you're right, that game did continue. So this is, and again, people get in a, that's why nobody wants to be an authority figure or a leader, because you try and make a damn decision and you get lambasted for it. You know, have you watched 1883 yet on Paramount Plus, Darren? Have you seen it? Have you watched it? Because you really should.
I know I haven't yet. Haven't started it. Started Tulsa King,
reason being,
but not that one.
Well, you're going to get caught up to all these shows I'm telling you about. But Sam Elliott, today's life lesson, not coming from me, it's coming from Sam Elliott. In that show, it's the Wild West of the late 1800s, man. It was as, I'd heard about it, I've read about it. In this show, they're showing it, 1883. And Sam Elliott said to this guy who, I don't want to be a spoiler, but he made a very difficult decision out on the range. And Sam Elliott, and the guy was wrestling with it, whether he did the right thing or not. If he did the decent thing, and Sam Elliott goes, what the hell out here is decent? You made a decision. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, stick by it. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. People still think that way? You know what I mean? Because so many people waffle and go, oh, I didn't say that. Well, actually, you did. Moving on. Boy, a lot of great stuff here. Breaking news. Zach Nelson in Calgary says, breaking news. Congrats to Nick Lewis and Jawan Simpson being named to the Stampeders coaching staff. And we do need to pick it up and move along here because I do have that CFL news. Brandon Banks and the Argos parting ways today. And there's always more to the story. There always is, but it seems like an amicable split. Let's go with that. That's what both sides are saying. I talked to a former Argos coach this morning, and he said as far as he knew, Speedy B is retiring. Brandon Banks, former MVP of the Canadian Football League, won a Grey Cup with Toronto this year. Sounds like he's riding off into the sunset to be with Sam Elliott in 1883. NHL leftovers, quickly. Boston once again came through with a dramatic finish at the home of the Red Sox, this time with Jake DeBrusk netting both goals to complete the comeback. 2-1, Boston over Pittsburgh in the Outdoor Classic on Monday. There were some other NHL games on Monday. Nicholas Roy scored twice. Arturi Lehkonen chipped in with 2 helpers. And the Vegas Golden Knights, Canada's team, defeated the Colorado Avalanche 3-2 in Denver. In Anaheim, Joel Farabee scored once and added an assist as the Flyers dumped the Canucks 4-1 for their 3rd straight win. Also off the ice, the NHL announced that the Kraken will host the Golden Knights in the 2024 Discover NHL Winter Classic, New Year's Day at T-Mobile Park, home of the Seattle Mariners, which is cool because I thought they might play it in the football stadium, but they're not in Seattle. They're going to play it in the ballpark. Point 4, the Quick 6 show topics. Quickly, Week 5 of the National Lacrosse League, there were only 3 games. Buffalo beat Halifax 18-13. San Diego defeated Calgary 17-14. I believe that was the Roughnecks' first loss. And at SaskTel Center in Saskatoon, the Saskatchewan Rush beat Panther City 11-9. Our beloved Georgia Swarm, shout out, hashtag buzzin', had the week off in the NLL. I'm a big Georgia Swarm fan, Moose. Can I move on, or do you have anything to add on all these things that I've said here?
Winter Classic for a second. I watched it. It was awesome. They had they walked out, the Bruins did, in their Boston Red Sox uniforms holding the bat over their shoulders. I thought it was great. I thought the game was good. Malkin almost scored right at the end. He was about a half a second too late. Weather was good. Broadcast was awesome. The only thing I wish is on the Winter Classic day that would be the only game on the ice, so all the attention could be on it, because it's still pretty special.
Well, I got to say this about the NHL network. It gives me everything I need, and I feel Terrible for Canadians that you don't get it. TSN basically is your de facto NHL network, and it's great. I love it. But the NHL network, they had a pregame show from Boston, from Fenway Park, and then they made way for the USA playoff game at the World Juniors. They had the Canadian game on the World Juniors, and then back to NHL coverage. I'm like, I just love it. And, you know, with the Bruins showing up and getting off the bus on the baseball uniforms, I saw that too. It reminds me of what team was it? Well, obviously the Leafs wearing their Christmas outfits. Austin Matthews with his red and gold sweater or red and green sweater and the gold bow. I'm like, they're having fun. What's going on? The NFL postponed a game? Players are having fun? And the NHL, what is going on? Are we getting back to what's right? Because you would like to think that they're having fun out there. Didn't it look like they were just having a blast?
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, it really did. Yeah.
Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Well, no, it looked like they were having fun. And, you know, the whole pregame show, I watched the TNT coverage, the full pregame, and they're all having fun, jabbing at each other. And then they got Brad Marchand on the headset on the ice there, and the guys are all asking their questions, and they're kind of giving him the business about the eye black on his big nose, and they're shooting pucks, and they're having a blast. And like, that's what sports should be, when the announcers are having fun and the players are having fun and everybody's having a great time. Then as a viewer, I'm having a good time, and it was great.
And we'll continue that, and we have to break. But just Troy in Toronto says, he says, I thought the Black Keys were great between periods. The game was good too. The only thing I didn't like was Rene Rancourt did not sing the national anthem. I wanted him out there pumping up the crowd. Rene Rancourt, the Bruins national anthem singer, who I know they've pushed into retirement, but can you bring him out to Fenway, please? Anyways, we'll get to all that CFL news when we come back. Tonight in the NHL, some bowl game talk. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show. Daytime sports talk live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Jumping right back into it, daytime sports talk live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE. Let's bring in the Moose. And when we talked about having fun, and this business should be fun, your work should be fun, I meant to open the show saying this, but I'll say it now, and I know you agree. I absolutely love working with you, Jordan, Clark, Ryan, Rolf, Tuna. Not sure who am I forgetting. Hopefully nobody out of that list. But I absolutely love it. That's the way it should be. So there.
Absolutely. Of course. We have fun every day on this show, and that's what's important. And I said it when we talked about the Winter Classic. You know, if you're having fun and your coworkers are having fun and, you know, the players and the broadcasters are having fun, the fans will have fun. So if we're having fun, the viewers will have fun.
Should be fun, and we got Ryan O'Radio flying the ship down there in Noonan, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. We got the guys at the Game Plus control room in Toronto, and we love you too. It's all great, and it's growing. Before we get to the CFL news, because there's a lot, and I can say that my heart is warm when it comes to the CFL. I feel good things happening with the CFL and this show as we move into 2023 and beyond. Before we get to that CFL news, Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba is watching on Game Plus TV right now. He says, Happy New Year, Rod and Moose. We all hope DeMar has a full recovery. Speedy B is not that speedy anymore. Bedard for Prime Minister.
How about
Trevor
that?
Tim is watching in Red Deer, Alberta on Game Plus TV. Happy New Year, guys. No game is more important than a man's life, period. And he said Owen Hart died in front of 18,000 people, and the WWE continued the show. Made me sick to my stomach. From Ricky Regina, he writes in, Happy New Year, Rod and Dupes and crew. It's going to be an exciting year. All the best, gents. That's the gentleman from Ballers, as you know. And David, he is in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He says, continue to pray for DeMar Hamlin. The issue that bothers me the most about this disturbing incident is the stupidity of social media. Trolls who immediately look to point unsubstantiated fingers at the NFL, saying they wanted the game restarted. The only focus should be on DeMar's health and providing support to him and his family. I don't have any New Year's resolutions. I haven't asked you, Darren, if you have any, and I don't care what they are. But if I can make a suggestion, it's either stay off social media or try to not be triggered by social media. How about that? That should keep you busy until 2024.
Yeah.
So to the CFL news, I have not seen any initial release or anything like that, but one of our Calgary viewers, Zach, wrote in and said that Nick Lewis and Jawan Simpson have joined the Stampeders coaching staff. So there's that. But the biggest news that has everybody talking in the Canadian Football League today is that Brandon Banks is done with the Toronto Argonauts. I'm reading from the Canadian Press Wire. Brandon Banks' first season with the Toronto Argonauts will be his last. The CFL club announced Tuesday it has parted ways with the veteran American receiver. Argos general manager Mike Pinball Clemens said in a statement, quote, Brandon arrived here as a bitter rival and leaves as a member of the Argos family. We thank him for his contributions on the field and for his veteran leadership in the locker room. His time in double blue may have been speedy, but now he'll always be a champion. The move wasn't entirely surprising, given Banks hinted December 31st on Twitter that something could be coming. That's New Year's Eve, by the way. Speedy B tweeting, "Thanks, Argos. Great doing business, and thanks for the opportunity to do what my only goal was, to be a champ." Signed, Speedy B. I said it earlier, but he's an American, so you would hope that the U.S. portion of our audience knows or cares who he is. Brandon Banks, Speedy B. Did he play Mississippi somewhere? I have to look up his bio. Hell of a player. He and I have had some Twitter wars over the years. That stuff's just fun to me, as you know. But he left Hamilton after how many years, folks? 9, 10 seasons? Just wasn't getting it done. Played in Grey Cups, lost Grey Cups. He's like, I'm not going to win a Grey Cup at Hamilton. He didn't say it. I'll say it for him. So he goes and signs in Toronto. He's now going to give Toronto a shot. Only happens to be our number one rival. It's like Johnny Damon going from the Yankees to the Red Sox in a way. And lo and behold, they win it. And he didn't have the massive impact or, record-breaking season. It's not stuff that we were used to seeing him have in Hamilton, but he won a champion. Or went out of Toronto a champion, if it's to be believed. I got a buddy, I said, former Argos coach, texted me saying that Speedy B's retiring. I guess he had made that known. My question to you, Darren, is why do you got to release it this way, that you're parting ways? I read that negatively, unless that's just me, and I'm not a real negative guy.
Yeah, I don't. I don't read it negatively. I think I read it a little bit like, I imagine is if you just released him and not told anybody or made a mention about it, then what would we think? Is he not worthy of a release? The social media is going to get you no matter what. People are going to have a problem with how you do it no matter which way you go. So you just got to do it the way you think is right. And I think he's such a big figure that it's newsworthy when something happens with a star like that. So I think that's important. And he's going to be missed. I mean, whether it's his time in Toronto's done or whether his time in the Canadian Football League's done. Look, yeah, you guys have had your wars, and you guys have had him online, and he hasn't been on this show, but there's no questioning his place in the game and in the league. And he was a personality, he was a superstar, and he was great for the Canadian Football League. He has been great and continues to be great for the CFL, and we need more Brandon Banks. Guys that you love, guys that you hate, guys that are personalities that you show up and pay money to watch. So I'm happy he won his championship, and if he's retiring, I hope he's happy, and if he keeps playing, I hope it's on his own terms.
I got to write down the time code on that, Moose. Very well said. Moose on Speedy B. No, I'm serious. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, Speedy B, Kansas State. Well, I'm now 4 years out of the CFL, and I'm getting old. Which, speaking of getting old, I guess I don't have a resolution, but I've changed, man. I've lived a half century, and I've told you this on the phone, and I've told certain people in my sphere that if I have a resolution at all for my next 50 years, it's to not let things bother me. And it's actually really working. It's working. And I know eventually, and I just wish, I know people will down the line come to me and say, Rod, how did you do it? Because they're doing it now with the other life changes that I've made. You know that for a fact. Yeah. But I wish everybody could, the stuff, the jabs with Bo Levi and Speedy B and the guys, Simone Lawrence, the guys that I've had feuds with, it was never serious to me. You know that. It was fun. But they got so mad. And I was just thinking this morning about how I was told by the Oilers that they're still mad that I broke this story of Ken Holland being their GM. And I'm like, well, I can't help you then because I'm just doing my job. If you guys don't want me doing my job, then you're just going to have to lump it because I'm not going to stop doing my job. So I guess my point is, while I'm going to not let these things bother me, I'm not sure everybody else is going to follow suit. Until we're a few years down the line and they're like, Rod's really happy. How'd you do that? Because that's how it works. Our guy, Bruce Rogers, very good friend of mine, former manager of my bank, writes in and he says, I agree entirely with Dupes. CFL needs more personality at every level of the league. Bingo! Well, that's why, like I say, I think that we're going to have a really good... You CFL fans are going to like what's coming up in store with our show and the CFL in 2023. I know I like it. And if I like it, you'll like it. And Nelson, by the way, says, They part ways so he can sign a one-day contract with the Ticats. Formalities. He may be guessing on that. If that's the case, good for him. Moose, I'll see you later on in hour 2.
Sounds good.
We do have Winnipeg broadcasters Jamie Thomas and Brian Munz coming up later on in hour 2. We've got one more segment left in hour 1, and it's next, a sports update and a viewer takeover. It's Daytime Sports Talk, the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino dancing.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
I gotta say, 2023 is off to a great start for us here at the RP Show, and thanks for joining us for Daytime Sports Talk on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE. Before I plunge into a sports update, you heard the man say, text us 902-518-3033. Paula DuPont writes in, that's Moose's mom. She says, great to see your faces live. 2023 looks good on you guys. Thank you, Paula. And without you, your son wouldn't be here. And as we say, it's great to be here. In this business, it's great to be anywhere. Devin's watching on Game Plus TV in Burns Lake, British Columbia, where we are on Channel 924 at TELUS TV. He says, good morning and Happy New Year. Prayers to Hamlin. Good on the NFL for putting the game on ice. This is, piggybacking off what we talked about before the break. I don't care why they made or how they came to the conclusion to postpone the game. I don't care. And I know I'm, again, out on an island with that opinion, because this morning on ESPN Get Up, one of the reporters, and I don't really like him anyways, so maybe I'm biased, but he was like, this is going to be our hardest work of reporting to find out his status today. And I'm like, why don't you just leave him alone? How about that? Because that's what his family's asked for. Mike Dornian writes in. He says, Happy New Year, Roddy, from Twisted Mike. Twisted. I know a lot of Twisted Mikes. Thank God he put his last name. I was going to say, you got to be more specific. Sports update. Team Canada has a day off at the World Junior Championship ahead of Wednesday's semifinal match with the USA. The Americans were 11-1 winners over Germany Monday. Czechia meets Sweden in Wednesday's other semifinal. All 7 Canadian teams are on action tonight in the National Hockey League. The Montreal Canadiens look to end a 5-game losing streak when they play the Predators in Nashville. The Leafs, who have won 7 of 10, host the Blues. And I see, reading the NHL game notes this morning, that Austin Matthews is, what's he sitting at, Clark? Are you 444 games? He's a point away from 500 career points. I would assume you're on top of that, Clark, producer Clark. 444 career games. He's at 499 points. If he gets a point, well, whenever he does, he will have done it faster than anybody else in Leafs history. The current record holder is one Darryl Sittler. So there you go. I'm following the Leafs. Yeah, buddy. Last minute of play in hour 1. The Winnipeg Jets host the Calgary Flames, with both teams sporting 2-game win streaks. And we're going to be delving into that one with Jamie Thomas, Jets broadcaster, to open hour 2. Sends home to Columbus, and the Edmonton Oilers entertain the Seattle Kraken. And the losses continue to mount for the Toronto Raptors. They dropped a 112-114 decision in Indiana and have only won 3 of their last 10 games to fall to 12th in the East. I see our Atlanta Hawks hanging in there, barely. Here come the Hawks. I believe they're 9th in the NBA East. Shout out to our friends listening in Metro Atlanta. The Raptors play their next 2 at home. Wednesday against the Milwaukee Bucks, fear the deer, and Friday versus the New York Knickerbockers. We're going to Winnipeg after this break. It's the RP Show, Game Plus, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Right now.
I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is. Happy New Year, and welcome into hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. I was going to tell you now, it's a very big Winnipeg hour. In moments, Jamie Thomas going to be with us, Winnipeg Jets radio colorman on CJOB, Manitoba's information superstation. And the voice of the Winnipeg Jets coming up, Winnipeg Ice, Brian Munz a little later on. Here's the news you can use from the Canadian Football League today. Brandon Banks and the Argos parting ways. Sounds like he's going to retire. The Calgary Stampeders have announced their coaching staff this year, and it includes our good friend Nick Lewis and Jawan Simpson. We'll be getting into all of that later. Damar Hamlin still in critical condition in a Cincinnati hospital after having a cardiac event. I'm no doctor, but we know what happened Monday night on Monday Night Football. Just finding out that the NFL is getting roasted for stopping the game, postponing it. I don't know why. I could see them getting roasted for continuing to play, which, whatever. I thought they would. I don't know what they would be getting roasted for, but he's still in critical condition. And what do you got, Clark? Okay. We're getting audio issues with Jamie Thomas, but we'll get him shortly. And, of course, Canada winning last night at the World Jays in overtime, 4-3 over Slovakia. Connor Bedard with the winner in overtime. A very Eberle-esque game-winning goal, and that is our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Is Connor Bedard the greatest World Juniors player ever? Statistically, he is the best Canadian ever. Broke 5 records Monday night, Connor Bedard. 66% of you, last I saw, saying yes, he's the greatest World Junior ever. So I'm going to jump to why we have him here. Jamie Thomas from CJOB. Flames, Jets tonight, and then we'll get into the other sports topics for the time that we have with him. JT, Happy New Year, my man. Always good to see you. And I'm sure your job's a lot more fun this year than it was last. Big game tonight. What has you excited about it?
A million things. You look at, and you're right, Rod. It is a lot better to do our jobs when the team we cover is winning, as compared to what was happening last year. There was a reason for it, and now you have that new voice in Rick Bowness, and you've seen the results of that. After your question about what I'm excited about tonight, so the Jets go into Edmonton the other night, massively shorthanded. And yes, the Oilers didn't have Leon Draisaitl, but that is still the number one power play that torched Seattle the night before for 7 goals. Not the power play, but the team itself. And you hold them down to 1 goal. You shut down Connor McDavid and into 17 goals. What the Jets are doing right now, Rod, is winning games the hard way and holding on tight to leads. And yes, they gave up the 1-goal lead in the third period, but they bounced back from that and go on to win the game 2-1, killing off a penalty at the end of the game. That where Dylan DeMello's in the penalty box for a 4-minute high sticking penalty. So you build off that, you go up against another team in the Calgary Flames that is built for the playoffs. So you have that right there. You win a defensively minded game, defensively structured game. Now you're going to go up against a playoff caliber team and structured team on home ice here. First game of the new year. You're still in the hunt for first place. So there's just so many reasons to be excited about it. Christian Reichel is on the top line tonight, Rod. A guy who came calling from the Manitoba Moose. Of course, his dad's Robert Reichel. So what the Jets have had this year continuously is the players coming up from Manitoba off the waiver wire, filling in and playing minutes that they're not ordinarily used to playing, being in roles they're not ordinarily used to being put in, and contributing and helping this team win. So, there's a lot of players starting to come back to the roster, and Pierre-Luc Dubois said this the other day. We should talk more and give more respect to the players that are here contributing instead of getting all excited. And I'm paraphrasing here. Getting excited about all the guys that are going to get back. Yes, it's exciting getting those guys back, but we should pay homage to the guys that have got the Jets where they are today. So it's been a lot of guys contributing, the big name players producing when they have to. So there's a lot of things to be excited about this Winnipeg Jet team, and in particular going against the Calgary Flame team that was one of the Stanley Cup favorites heading into the regular season, and they're starting to get their game around. So an all-Canadian matchup with all kinds of little stories heading into this one. Lots of things to be excited about. Lots of reasons why to watch this one tonight, Rod.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm following the Jets extremely closely. They won the showdown with the Florida Panthers, as you know, earlier this year. The Jets will be here March 11th, and frankly, they're already talking about that. But I want to say this. I'm going to ask you things, as you know. We've known each other a long time. I'm going to ask you things that nobody else will.
Yeah.
Nothing that you can't handle.
Okay.
But like last summer,
of course,
there was the Scheifele thing. There was insiders saying he's done with the Jets. Scheifele's done. That's one. And two, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Yeah. They're going to have to move him. He's not going to sign a long-term deal. Yeah. He's out of here. I mean, that's what kept you guys busy all summer. But lo and behold, they're major contributors on this team. Did somebody convince them to stay or be happy? Was it all fake news? What's the deal with this team, the change?
I think, Rod, we'll start with Scheifele. When Scheifele said all those terms and the things that he said to the media, he had not spoken with Kevin Cheveldayoff yet, right? Remember, he had said, I want to see what this team's going to do. He hadn't had his year-end meeting with Kevin Cheveldayoff yet before he spoke to us. So I think a lot of questions for him hadn't been answered yet, and I think they were answered. But I think Rick Bowness is the key cog in this whole thing here, the coaching staff. You know, you start winning, you start telling players how important they are, what they mean to this, and you start putting them in positions to succeed, and then you see the benefits of that. I think that's all you really need to do. I think Mark Scheifele has known full well what he means to this organization. Pierre-Luc Dubois, same thing. And he is, going with Pierre-Luc Dubois, he could say what he wants, and that some of his words were taken out of context, which we tend to do. Sure, the words about going to Montreal, who knows how that works out. But for the time being, it is in Pierre-Luc Dubois' best interest to help the Winnipeg Jets win wherever he wants to be at the end of this. And he did say, as a young man, he doesn't know what he's going to be doing next year, never mind in 8 years if he signs a long-term deal with anybody. So there's all that's out of the way. Now the team's winning. And the reason why the Jets are keeping this together, Rod, and yes, it's full respect to the guys that have filled in on the blue line, on the wings, but they've been healthy up the middle. So any team that has Mark Scheifele, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Adam Lowry as your top three centermen, I think you're going to have a pretty good team, and that's exactly what they are. The Jets had a bad year last year, Rod. Flat out. No one's going to deny that. So what Rick Bowness saw was just a lot of little things that just weren't happening, and that he came in and started talking to players, He's more open. There's no knock on the previous regime whatsoever. Rick Bowness is more of a discussion. Players know exactly where they sit with him. Anything he says to us, he's already said to the players. So there's none of this, hey, did you hear what Rick Bowness said to when you talk to a player? That's not going to happen because he's already talked to them about the issue that is out there. So I just think this flat-out clarity of where people or players sit is working for players. There's more conversation. There's more dialogue. And again, no knock on the previous regime. Some players respond differently to different coaches. It just happens to be that these two players that we're talking about, Pierre-Luc Dubois and Mark Scheifele, have responded very well to this current coaching staff.
The viewers love talking Jets. As you know, there's a lot of people watch us on Game Plus out there in Manitoba and Winnipeg. Yeah. John Ohm writes in and says, is Ehlers playing tonight, JT?
No, but he's getting closer. So here it is. He skated yesterday, and if you think about this, it's not fair to him or anybody else like Cole Perfetti, Nate Schmidt, to have one practice and then to throw him into the Wolves, especially against a team like the Calgary Flames. They're a hard pressuring team. They're very physical. That's not fair to throw them back in there. So the conversation is, at this point, there's a possibility for Perfetti, Schmidt, and Ehlers to play Friday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, whether that happens remains to be seen. Cole Perfetti just said about 15 minutes ago he expects to be back on Friday. Of course, there's other things in the way of that, but that's a positive sign. But Nikolai Ehlers is getting very close, and that is a good thing. He's not wearing a red jersey. Blake Wheeler, Saku Menelainen were wearing a red jersey today. Those guys aren't as close to coming back. But to answer your question, Nikolai Ehlers is this close to returning to the Winnipeg Jets lineup.
One of our football insiders, Craig Smith, two-time Grey Cup champion, watching the show right now. He's from Winnipeg. He says, Bonus, so much better defensively, and loves seeing the defense up in the offensive zone, especially Morrissey.
Yeah.
Ted is watching in Arizona, and he says, hey, Jamie, who's the biggest surprise on the Jets this year, in your opinion?
Wow. So, geez, there's so many ways you can go on this one. Let's go with. I don't want to say Josh Morrissey is a surprise, guys, but I don't think anybody would say the numbers that he's putting up right now were what we were expecting. We knew the Jets were going to be having more activity from their back end, and the points would be. Rick Bowness said he wanted them to get up to 40 goals from the blue line this year. That was a flat-out expectation. That was a goal for this team. So we've always known about Josh Morrissey's elite ability to skate. We've known about his elite IQ. I just think a conversation that he had with Rick Bowness, somebody believing him, not that the other guys didn't, but just saying, we game plan to shut you down. That's what Rick Bowness said. When Dallas came to town, the game plan was to take out Josh Morrissey, not allow him to get wound up. Now that this is here, this ability for him to jump in and the trust of his players and his wingers to stay back when he joins the play. And, of course, Dylan DeMello plays a large role in this. So, to me, Josh Morrissey's point totals are the biggest surprise to me, not the player himself. We've always known this. Paul Maurice used to say about he had an offensive side. We saw him in junior with Kelowna and Prince Albert. Huge offensive up. Team Canada as well at the World Juniors. It was all there. Just other guys were in front of him. Dustin Byfuglien. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a long list of players that had that offensive side to them that were in front of him on the depth chart. Now he's number one. Now he quarterbacks the number one power play. So Josh Morrissey's point totals to me are the biggest surprise for the Winnipeg Jets in 22-23.
Thank you. Randy from Winnipeg.
No problem.
Randy in Winnipeg asks, he says, Paul Maurice quits the Jets, joins Panthers. Jets are good, Panthers are bad. You're probably hearing it every day. If you know Paul Maurice, you like him. I'm sure you think a lot of him. Is it unfair? What's your take on that switch? I'm kind of tired of hearing it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you should be, Gerard, because look at the injuries the Florida Panthers have had, right? And the one issue that Florida has traditionally had year over year is goaltending. And those guys have not answered the bell at all. Like that is flat out the issue. They also play a wide open brand of hockey that works in the regular season, not so much during the postseason. And we saw last year against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who know how to lock it down. They know exactly when it is time to get on the offensive side of things. They've been there before. Florida had too many injuries, and namely in Barkov. That's a hard guy to replace night in, night out of your lineup. That's one of your top centermen. You lose a top centerman, the other issues start to come into the forefront, and the goaltending to me is so. You have Connor Hellebuck here, and you saw the other night what number one goaltending, elite goaltending, will get you against the Edmonton Oilers, who had plenty of chances to score more than one goal, but it was Connor Hellebuck with the timely save over and over and over again against the Oilers on New Year's Eve. Is another reason why the Winnipeg Jets are where they are. So it is unfair to sit there and say and point at Paul Maurice as the issue in both Winnipeg and Florida. Paul Maurice did great things for this organization. They were struggling. He returned a lot of confidence to players that didn't have much left when he took over. That was his number one job, and you saw the fruits of his labor during the 17-18 season. And to me, they could have went a whole lot further in 18-19 had they got past the St. Louis Blues in the first round of the playoffs.
My last one for you, because you're a busy guy and it's game day. When did you, Jamie, realize that this team was special and a different team? And then it wasn't just a burst out of the gate, that they're great.
Right. Let's see. The way they've gone on the road, Rod, and consistently answered the bell. They'll have a tough game. I would say about mid-November, where you're like, okay, these guys are real. And it's the special teams have played a large role in this. They have struggled in the past couple of years killing penalties. You know, Connor Hellebuck last year may have had a little role in that. They just couldn't seem to get out of a funk in that department. But Rick Bowness, there's a lot of things where he said, we got to improve on special teams. We got to be in top 10 in the power play. Got to be in top 10 in the penalty kill. And you also got to get more offense from your blue line. They've done all three of those things. And I know the power play is not in the top 10, but the injuries play a role in that. The penalty kill was top 3 in the NHL for a stretch. So I would, to answer your question, mid-November, you're looking at this team like, wow, they're hanging around first place. And Rick Bowness constantly saying there's a responsibility of being in first place, of being that team that's being hunted every day instead of doing the hunting. So I think a lot of the players have taken that to heart. They've taken that responsibility to heart and have played that way on the ice. So it all ties back into what Paul Maurice said when he stepped down. They need a new voice. They have that new voice, and you've seen exactly what has happened after that. And kudos to him to realizing that his time was done. That he couldn't get anything else out of the players. Now you have Rick Bowness, who is getting the most out of his players, and it's been an exciting team. And I still think as they start getting healthier, Rod, you're going to start to see just how special this team is.
Wonderful chat. Thanks for the time, man. Happy New Year, as I said. Thanks for helping us out. Have fun tonight. I'm always listening, man. You're sounding great. Break a leg tonight.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, thanks very much, Rod. I appreciate it. All the best to you and your listeners and viewers, of course, as well. And Happy New Year to you, my man.
Thank you, pal. The great Jamie Thomas from CJOB 68, Manitoba's information superstation. I love saying that. Moose joins us next. We'll bring in the viewer comments. Brian Biggie Munz on the way, too, the voice of the Winnipeg Ice. It's a fun day, big Winnipeg day. It is Daytime Sports Talk on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
Okay, it is going to be audience participation time, but we're bringing the Moose back in from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. And Moose, I smile because at the gym the other day, my guy Chris, who's probably watching right now, he's originally from the Bronx, but he came down here from Albany. He goes, Rod, what is that NHL Bermuda Triangle you talk about? And I said, come here, Chris. And I drew a map on the windshield of my Jeep, Darren. I said, this rectangle here is Saskatchewan, and then to the right, this shaped thing is Manitoba, and to the left, this is Alberta. And there's NHL teams in Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg. And right in the middle of that little triangle is Saskatchewan. And that's the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, and that's where the Moose is. So now you know. See, again, all these new people that we have watching. Now, we have some older viewers, too, in terms of they've been with us for a long time, and that includes Dean in Green Bay. And I'll get to his question in a second. I just want to tell all our viewers it's a new year. Let's push this thing forward. 902-518-3033. Wherever you're watching live, or maybe later on in the night on Game Plus TV, or some other obscure channel that I've never heard of before. That's what I discovered, Darren. That lady that wrote us from Prairie City, Illinois, which I've never even heard of before, she was watching us on a television channel called Bounce Network. So if you're watching us live or replayed, write us and just tell us where you are. I would prefer if you did it now, but I feel like a lot of messages will come in around midnight tonight, somewhere in between the sea of infomercials that air on late night television. Anyways, poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center today is Connor Bedard the greatest World Juniors player ever? Last I saw, over 70% on Twitter saying yes, he is. Clark, do you have a sample size on YouTube? 74% on YouTube saying yes. Thank you, producer Clark. So, yeah, we're closing the book on that. To Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills safety who, as of right now, remains in critical condition in a Cincinnati hospital after having a cardiac event on Monday Night Football. I bring you in, Darren, for Dean's question, and all of our viewers across North America that might have the answer to this. He said, has the CFL ever encountered anything like the Hamlin situation? If so, how was it handled? In my opinion, the game should be considered abandoned. It'll be difficult enough to get this weekend's games in, let alone attempt to make up last night's game. So we've talked a lot of hockey. I don't mind spending a minute on this. Do I remember an incident in the Canadian Football League like this? Well, no, there hasn't been one like this. And to be honest, I haven't even seen the video of what happened with Hamlin, and I don't want to see it. You know, from the second last night, I don't know about you. I haven't even asked you. This is kind of like a where were you moment. I didn't even have Twitter open. I'm watching the Canada hockey game at the World Juniors, and I open Twitter, and I'm reading, this is worse than Joe Theismann. This is worse than any other injury I've ever seen. I'm like, no. And I didn't scramble to find it. I'm sure if I tried, I probably would find it within 2 seconds. I don't really want to see it. So we've never had an incident like this happen in the CFL. We've had serious injuries that I will get into. But do you or any of our viewers remember anything like this in the Canadian Football League? Because I do not.
No, I don't either at all. I'm trying to think back as to when something like this might have happened, but you just can't think of it. And I think this is unprecedented. And there's no handbook on how to deal with this. It's not in, there's no playbook. So we're all dealing with this for the first time, including the National Football League. We've seen it in hockey. We've seen players collapse on the bench and get rushed off and have episodes. But one of the differences is this happened on the football field, and the player went down and had the episode, and everybody came out, and all the players witnessed it and watched it. And that's when the shock, you talked about the shock of Josh Allen. That's where, you can't really, how do you play after you've seen that and you're that emotional? Because we know in the sport of football how dangerous it is, and if you're not mentally there 100%, it becomes exponentially even more dangerous, right? And at least in hockey, the guy gets rushed off, you don't really see it, you don't see the treatment, the CPR, and we haven't had to deal, so the players can go on. But in that situation, I don't know how the players could have played.
We got a few answers here. Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, checking in. He says, yes, Tom Pate for the Ticats. Smitty, you'll have to refresh my memory. You want to write in and tell us what happened there? Tom Pate, there's an award named for him. So we're talking about a guy that passed away on the field. I mean, what was the injury? I mean, this is a different time now than it was then. Serena was telling me in the break that the NFL is getting ripped for postponing the game. I see Kevin the Medium, our good friend, went off on Facebook. I was checking that in the break, which I probably shouldn't. And people are tying this into the COVID vaccine. Just, if you want some peace, step away from it. Smitty says, by the way, Rick Galbos blocked Tom Pate, and Pate eventually passed away. Someone in Calgary would know more details. I think it was 1975. Maybe this is the game. Jack in Alberta says, in a game in the 70s, Calgary versus Hamilton, a Hamilton player collapsed and was taken to hospital where he died from a blood clot. It hit in his heart. Can't remember the name of the player. The game continued. And that's got to be the Tom Pate incident. That's what he's talking about. Wayne in Victoria, BC, watching, says Tom Pate died, but I don't think they stopped the game and didn't finish the game. Believe me, look, it was very hard. Let's get personal here for a little bit, because the viewers, the listeners, they like the personal stories. I was in Virginia for 5-6 days, staying with people that weren't huge sports fans. So I wasn't watching a lot of NFL nor bowl games. A little bit of hockey. But I guess my point here is this game's important, right? They can't just scrap it, is what I'm getting to. I'm not totally familiar. I know where the Cowboys are at. I know where your Titans are at. They got the Jaguars this weekend in a huge game, right? What does this game need for Bills and Bengals? There's no way that they can scrap it, is there?
I don't think so. I mean, it's really a battle for first place. And if you can get first place in the AFC, you're looking at a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So that's part of the implications of it. But the real question becomes, when do you play it? Because you got games this weekend, right, coming up. Then you've got playoffs. It becomes really tough in terms of juggling schedules. But that's just something they're going to have to deal with. Deal with the schedules. And I know in the last week, they don't typically, there's no Thursday night games, there's no Monday night games. There's potentially a way to juggle this, but yeah, it's I don't know how they're going to do it. That's something that they'll be dealing with in the coming days.
Allie in Texarkana, I'm not sure if she's still watching now, but she wrote last hour that she said COVID proved to us that games can be moved. And that's a really good point. Remember your Tennessee Titans played a game without even practicing? Didn't they have a COVID outbreak? They played a game without even practicing all week, and they won.
That's right.
Right? Because I remember thinking, why practice at all? You know? We had the Stamps news last hour. They announced the coaching staff. It includes Nick Lewis and Juwan Simpson. Thank you to all the Stamps fans. I feel like we're going to have a real good synergy with the Stampeders this season and all Alberta CFL teams. Back to the Damar Hamlin thing, though, because it is the talk of the day. And I'm so glad that you've chatted with one of my good Florida football people down here. I'm so glad that I brought you two together on Friday for a phone conversation. But he said to me this morning, he's like, can't wait for your show. It's going to be the biggest thing in sports. And it is. And how they're handling this. Greg, with 2 G's, watching on YouTube, says, in my opinion, the NFL probably already knows what they will do about the game. The Bills went home last night. Obviously, they won't release any news until we know more about Damar. That's probably true, but I'll tell you something. Yep, this is the new me in 2023. My next 50 years. I'm just going to say it. As you just clutched your heart. No, they don't have a plan. And that's not their fault. You cannot plan for all these scenarios. You just can't. How could you sit at a league meeting in Palm Springs or Boca Raton, where the NFL GMs meet, and say, guys, what are we going to do if a player has a heart attack on the field? You can't plan for things. You just can't. And the reason that I know that, because I've been in so many scenarios like this. I was, without naming names, although you've heard the story many times, I was with a team, and our Alberta viewers will know exactly. Some might even be watching right now that we're part of this, where a referee and official got assaulted. I mean, outright, allegedly assaulted after the game by a coach under the stands. So only a few people saw it. It was a playoff hockey game. And I was still drinking then, but that particular night, not profusely. And the reason I say that is we sat around a hotel room. By the way, it wasn't our coach. It was the other team's coach. Having a beer, watching SportsCenter going, what the hell is going to happen out of this? We didn't know. I'm talking about that night, right? I remember leaving the rink and we're just going, can you believe what just happened? There's no plan. Do you think the NFL had page 1197 of their handbook? What happens if a player has a heart attack on the field or has a cardiac event? Do you agree with me or not? I don't believe they had a plan.
They didn't have a plan. And I saw it on Twitter. Somebody tweeted that how could the NFL not have a plan in place for crisis, management in a situation like this? Surely they should have planned for this. But the truth is that they can't, because A, it's so inhuman to just have A, B, C, D. This is how we handle this. Because no two situations like this would be the same. Like, if it had happened on the sideline and the player got rushed down the tunnel really quickly and everybody was concerned for him, but nobody really saw, and the players didn't have the same effect on them, the game continues. But it's on the field, and you have to react to the situation, and you saw the grief, and as you mentioned, the shock that the players were in. You saw that. So reacting to that, there's no way you can play football. No way. So there's no way to predict how people will respond to situations. So there's no possible way to be prepared for this. No way.
Right. And I guess that's why this show is as popular as it is. And again, every day we're getting new viewers all over North America. And I'm getting it now. Why my advisors have said you need to introduce yourself to the new viewers. Because to me, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. I'm like, I've been around 50 years. I got to reintroduce myself now? But that's a fact. So I've got certification in grief, trauma, and stress management. So you recognize somebody that's in a state of shock and trauma. That's why, I don't know if you ever heard this, Darren, when you don't know what to do nothing. Have you heard that? Have you heard that phrase ever? I mean, you probably heard it from me, but have you heard it anywhere else?
Yeah. No, it's come up for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a point because when your brain is in a stressful, traumatic state of shock, you're not making correct decisions. So to be perfectly honest, the point is when you don't know what to do nothing. It's very hard. Don't send that text. Don't send that tweet. Don't make that call. Don't get in the car and go And that's why I think the NFL, we're just not going to finish the game. And we'll deal with what comes after. That's why I think they made the right decision. And I don't care or want to know what went into it. I don't. The right decision was made. And let's move forward. Sam Elliott, 1883. Moose, I'll see you in overtime.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're going back to Winnipeg next. It's Daytime Sports Talk live on Game Plus, YouTube Live, and WQEE Radio.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca. You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Always a great day, as I say. Great to be here in this business. Great to be anywhere. Daytime Sports Talk on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE. And I hope you Winnipeggers are loving the show today, because we're bringing in our good and longtime friend, Brian Munz. Hey, do I call you a Humboldt Sask product or a Regina product? I don't know if we've ever straightened that out. Munzie, what do you tell people?
Well, I spent more time, and my parents are still in Humboldt, so I think I still call that home. Now, I will admit, when I go back to Regina, every time it's special because I have friends there, but those are kind of all guys from my junior hockey circles, I guess, that live there now. So, no, Mom and Dad are home, and if I was ever going to say that I got to go home for the weekend, it's Humboldt.
Yeah, cool. The man behind the Humboldt Broncos Memorial Golf Tournament, which we will bring up in a second. But Munzie, now the voice of the Winnipeg Ice, the 28-5 Winnipeg Ice. Quite a season, Munzie. How's it been through your eyes?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Real quick, if I can throw this into you, Roddy, as we kind of talk about going back in time and your useless information of the day. I was watching the commercial break there. Before I jumped on, you were advertising Deer Valley Golf. The first ever hole-in-one I saw live was at Deer Valley with that unnamed referee who was involved in the incident you guys were talking about before the break, before he went overseas.
The one that was allegedly assaulted. Right, gotcha.
Yes.
On number 2, let me guess, the elevated tee?
It was. It was.
Yeah,
there was.
I figured.
Yeah, you and I have mutual friends with all 4 of the guys that were in that group that day, but since we're not mentioning one, we won't mention the others either. I know one's watching, because he always does.
What a great sport this is, Munzie, and thank you for
Isn't
that
it?
story, by the way. That's made my day right there. So,
Well,
yeah,
I
you
just
guys
about
going to
fell-
be
I
in the
just
member?
about fell off the chair when you mentioned the story. When you talked about the incident, I was like,
course.
come on. And then you show the golf course, I'm like, really?
Yeah, it was all meant to be. So,
There you go.
are we going to talk hockey or what? All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
You guys going to be in the member this year or what? What's the deal?
Well, you hope so, right? That's why you battle through each and every game during the 68-game regular season schedule. I see I got to send you another golf shirt there from the last 2 wins that the Ice had over the weekend against Saskatoon in 2 fantastic games. They played back-to-back Friday, Saturday inside the Ice Cave at Wayne Fleming Arena. And Les Lazaruk and I were talking about it through 20 minutes on Friday night in Game 1. That may have been the best period of hockey that either of us have seen all season long. Like, they were going coast to coast all the way through. The speed, the skill was unbelievable. And, the netminders that night, we saw both goalies play for both teams with back-to-back games. It's kind of the way the calendar works out when you play those double headers. You know that. But to see the battle that is right now, the 2 top teams in the East Division go head-to-head like they did, was just fantastic. It was a great atmosphere. The building was pretty much sold out. And, yeah, it's been a fun start. There's no doubt about it. But as we all know, the deadline's coming up here on January 10th. And then now as we turn the calendar into 2023, this is where it really gets interesting. And that next level of play is by everybody. And it's fantastic hockey to watch.
Okay, well, then obviously I'm following the dub close, but not as much as if I was in it day to day. Keep me up to date or fill me in on the arms race, because I've seen the moves being made by the Seattles and the Kamloops, and you guys have had the odd transaction. As we get ready for the deadline, what are we expecting across the league?
Well, I think there's a pretty solid line that's written in sand right now in both conferences. When you take a look at the standings, the way things are, and I'll take a peek of it over my shoulder here right now. You've got maybe a little bit more of a battle in the Eastern Conference right now. The bottom 5-6 teams are trying to get in. You've got Lethbridge, Calgary, Regina, Swift Current, Brandon, and Medicine Hat that are there, and Brandon, Medicine Hat would be on the outside looking in. Can PA get there? I don't think so. Just, they're 5 points back already, and there's so many of these head-to-head games. Now, Jeff Truitt and company will say, hey, give us a chance every night, and as hard as they work, they do have a chance. But realistically, with those numbers for me, I think it's probably more of a Hurricane, Hitman, Pats, Broncos, Wheat King run to try and get in, and then you never know what happens. And obviously over in the Western Conference right now, Victoria and Spokane have fallen a long ways back of the Kelowna Rockets, who are the 8th seed right now. There's a 7-point difference. So I think we know pretty much who's going to be in. Now we wait and see to find out what the managers do in their respective offices of who will be sellers and who will be buyers and who's willing to pay the most to try and spark their club here over the next 6-7 days.
That's the thing. That's the thing is it's a fun time. It's a stressful time when you're in it. Let me ask you this. And I asked this with somewhat trepidation, but we've known each other a long time. You know where I'm coming from. What's it like watching the World Juniors with all the notable snubs of your team? Like, you know, my love for certain players on your team that aren't in Halifax. Like, how are they dealing with the World Juniors? I've been there. You know, you almost don't want to watch it when your guys aren't on the team. How's that going over with the Winnipeg guys?
I was kind of that way when the rosters came out for who was invited to camp. And it's not just Winnipeg, right? Like, you look at how good Denton Matejchuk is with the Moose Jaw Warriors. There's other players in the Western Conference that could have been there. But then when you also think of it from a Hockey Canada standpoint, you have 12 forwards and 6 defensemen that play the game. And we've got this great nation of hockey that has players from the Q, players obviously from the O, and then, you know, the players that are coming back from the National Hockey League that make a difference. And there's only so many spots. Could Carson Lambos play on that team? 100%. But right now, the management thought that there were players that were playing more consistently, obviously, or better, or however they felt that it should fit into their role, that, you know, they didn't involve him on the team this year. Could Matthew Savoy have been a player there? Absolutely. Same deal. He could have played anywhere as one of those 12 forwards. Could Zach Benson be there? Well, maybe he's a year away. Could Connor Geekie be there? Maybe he's a year away. So there's all of these players here. It's a wealth of riches. That's why Winnipeg has 28 wins to begin the year. And again, you look at the Matejchuks and you look at other players around the Western Hockey League that we see more than not. So yeah, there's disappointment. And I was that way at the beginning when I thought, okay, I might not watch it. But when Boxing Day came, I haven't been able to leave my television. And from what Connor Bedard and Team Canada were able to do last night, I watched every minute of that game until I saw on Twitter kind of what was going on with the Monday Nighter, and then I had the back and forth button going on the remote all the way through for the rest of the hockey game there. So it's must-watch television. That's, I think, what makes it so fun is you look at the parity right now for the World Junior Hockey Championship, and it wasn't an easy night for Canada throughout this tournament from losing Game 1 of round robin. Then they smoked everybody to get to where they did last night in the quarters. But it's games right now that you have to watch. And from a guy that's in the league and from a fan standpoint, it couldn't be any better.
Munz, you're far more eloquent than me. Very well said, my friend. Very well said. By the way, my buddy Mike Lee is watching in Hawaii right now, Maui. And he has written me, he says, the Rod Pedersen Show, the stuff that talks about stuff until sports comes up. Great job into the Munzie interview. That from Mike in Hawaii. So, Munzie, you guys are my team. So you can tell Jeep that and Zach Benson. And next, when we come back from the break, I'll have my Winnipeg Ice hat on. I just don't have time to get it here in this segment. So thanks for this. All the best in the new year. And I will see you this spring.
Sounds good, Roddy. Look forward to it. Happy New Year.
The great Brian Munz, the voice of the Winnipeg Ice. Back with overtime right after this, everybody. It is the RP Show, and we are live, daytime sports talk on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and WQEE Radio.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to joint damage or even a permanent disability. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, here we go. We are back. I'm just sending some messages here. We have the moose. I understand we have the moose. Camera or no camera. Wiki, wiki. What's he need to do? Hit refresh? Turn your camera on, Moose. We got it. By the way, these are not stains. I just used a little water to sponge off some dust on this Winnipeg Ice hat. I guess I haven't worn it enough. Are we going to have the moose? There we go.
I was wondering what they were. When you said it was water, I was like, okay.
Stupid of me. I ran into the closet in the break, sponged off a couple of dust spots. This will be dry very shortly, okay? Although, kind of feels like I need a new one. Maybe I'll take it off, and by the time it's dry... In Florida, things don't dry real fast, okay? Know what I'm saying? Our Arizona friends that are watching right now, stuff dries like that. Not here. It's called humidity. Look it up. What a show, Moose. There we go. Smitty writing. He goes, ice, from Randy in Winnipeg. He says, nice hat, Rod. From WQEE, Rhino Radio. He says, another great show. It's wonderful to have the RP show back in the new year, 2023. As I said, Ryan, it's wonderful to be anywhere, and it's very wonderful to be on WQEE. And I just love that they love what we talk about every day. John Ohm says that was a fast 2 hours. Boom! Great show, great start to 2023. I feel like it has been a fantastic start to 2023. John Ohm says, by the way, breaking news, the Regina Pats have traded 2004-born goaltender Matthew Keeper to the Kamloops Blazers in exchange for a 2023 fourth-round pick and a 2025 sixth-round pick. It's not a groundbreaking trade, but it is to Matthew Keeper. That's the one thing. We're going to wind it. We have lots of time here in this segment, Moose, but that's one of my New Year's resolutions, without even being a cognizant resolution, is to not, and you know this, is just forget about what people don't know. They'll figure it out on their own, eventually. You know, like when they say a minor trade today involving 16 players, well, that would be a major trade, but it's not minor to the players, is my point. This particular trade, it ain't a blockbuster. Do you have any thoughts on where the Dub's going here before we move on to the other things?
No, but it's going to heat up. And I love watching teams like Saskatoon and Winnipeg right now because they've had such great seasons, and their race for the Memorial Cup or to get there is going to be fun to watch. I could envision a Saskatoon-Winnipeg playoff series, which would be so much fun to watch. So I love the junior hockey stuff, and, you know, with the trade deadline, I believe, coming up here early in January, there's going to be some moves being made, and teams are going to do their thing. But, yeah, it'll be fun come playoff time.
So many things to get to here. Randy in Winnipeg says to wear the hat backwards until it dries. I'm going to tell you something. My dad said there's only two kinds of people that wear their hats backwards. Welders and something else.
How about that?
And,
oh, no.
And therefore, and I'm not a welder. So I don't wear my hat backwards. This is interesting. So breaking news, if it's breaking, and I appreciate John Ohm for writing it in. He says the Bills-Bengals game will not be resumed this week. The NFL has announced there is no decision on potentially resuming it at a later date. Arlen Bruce III says the NFL viewer numbers are rising by the second. I think we've talked to this about as far as I'm willing to go today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. The NFL made a decision. For the most part, I guess they're sticking by it. I admire that. They like my dad's comment. Thank you. I feel like we could be in a major fight, Moose, both you and I, and my shirt and my hat come this spring. Do we not see Winnipeg and Saskatoon hurtling towards the Eastern Conference Final? That's the way it's going.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely see that being the case. And I would say they both look good on you. I mean, that hat's a good color. I've always said that ever since you and I went to Nashville. You know, you could rock the hat on the show. It looks awesome. And both those teams have been really good to you and I. So maybe we'll have a little fun with that one come the spring.
Why did I try to sponge that dust off? Should have just rocked it, man. So there's that. But I just wanted the ice people to know that I brought this with me to South Florida, but I'm not averse to wearing new gear. There were so many things that I wanted to get to here, and my mind just... Kirk in Calgary writes in and says, does Bedard still play with the Pats after the trade deadline? New me, new year, not getting frustrated. You should, Kirk, read my Weekend 10 Things column where I addressed this. Regina Pats general manager John Paddock has said, so many times they're not trading him, I'm going to believe that they're not trading him. Let's go with that. So there's your answer. I also want to mention this, Moose. We got a lot of clips come out today. Munz on World Junior Snubs. You on Brandon Banks' legacy. Where will Connor Bedard go #1 overall? Jamie Thomas on the Flames and Jets tonight. Jamie Thomas on Paul Maurice and the Florida Panthers. which, by the way, I'll be at the game tonight. Arizona Coyotes, Florida Panthers. But I wanted to mention in the O, let's hear from the Ontario viewers. The ratings show that we're huge out there. We don't hear from them. They're like Edmonton. They watch, they don't comment. In the O tonight, Peterborough's at Hamilton, Guelph is at London, and Mississauga is at Oshawa. Does that not sound like 3 great games? In the Q, last minute of play in the show, Chicoutimi at Rimouski, Val-d'Or at Blainville, Rouen-Noranda at Victoriaville. So it's not just dub. We'll talk about that too. Coyotes here tonight against the Panthers. I can't wait. Your Leafs up against the Blues. Just a great time to be alive. It's just a great time to be on the air, and it's going to be a great 2023. What do you think?
I think it's going to be an absolutely great 2023. So off to a good start. Happy to be back on the air tonight, and happy to have everybody back watching too.
Chris, my cousin Chris in Medicine Hat, she says, so glad the RP show is back on. Missed you and your dad's stories. Yeah, I would say there's only 2 kinds of guys that wear their hats backwards. Which one are you? Because I don't wear it backwards. See you tomorrow, Moose. Noon Eastern. Right here. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Bob's your uncle. Dundee. How about that? I like it. Hot damn. Let's go.